Hey, welcome to Victory. My name is Matt Frad. This channel exists to help people find victory from the wounds that pornography has inflicted upon them, victory over using porn in general. So I hope you'll subscribe. It'll help us grow this channel. And every month we release a highly produced story from a man or a woman who has struggled and found victory over pornography. And I know you'll find those inspiring as well. Today, I want to talk about the breaking news that's just come out. YouTube has banned the official Pornhub account, which I am absolutely thrilled to see. Pornography is wicked, evil, disgusting, destroys souls, perverts the conjugal act, and is something that ought to be banned, and is something certainly that should be removed from YouTube, especially when it's violating its policies. So before we look at that article, we'll see what YouTube had to say, we'll see what Pornhub had to say in response. I just kind of want to remind people about what the Catechism of the Catholic Church has to say. Now, whether you're Catholic or not, I think you can take something away from the kind of major paragraph on pornography here in the Catechism. It says that pornography consists in removing real or simulated sexual acts from the intimacy of the partners in order to display them deliberately to third parties. So you might want to quibble with that definition, but I think it's basically accurate. Now, pornography, it says, offends against chastity because it perverts the conjugal act, the intimate giving of spouses to each other. It does grave injury to the dignity of its participants. And here we're not just talking about those who perform, but also vendors and the public. Why? Because each one becomes an object of base pleasure and illicit profit for others, right? People are not objects to be bought and sold, to be degraded for the sake of profit. It immerses all who are involved in the illusion of a fantasy world. Pornography is a grave offense, and it says that civil authorities should prevent the production and distribution of pornographic materials. And I'm in agreement with that. Now, of course, today we're not talking about civil authorities, we're talking about privately owned platform YouTube. Now, you might be tempted to think that because YouTube has been somewhat censorial regarding figures who really have not violated YouTube's policies or have violated what you might consider to be bogus policies, you should agree with me that I think that pornography is wicked, that it negatively impacts society, as we've already seen by perverting the conjugal act, that it perverts the beauty of sex to young people. And we're going to see much more that it does. So let's have a look at this article from the Daily Wire. YouTube has banned the official Pornhub account, which boasted more than 900,000 followers. That's pretty impressive. I have this channel has about 16,000 followers. Pints with Aquinas, my other channel, has about nearly 300,000. 900,000 is a lot. After repeated violations, the platform's move comes in the wake of other big tech companies like Meta, Instagram, and TikTok removing such accounts. Other corporations like Visa, MasterCard, Roku, Comcast, Unilever, Kraft Heinz, and PayPal have also cut ties with Pornhub. Now, as I already said, I'm a conservative Christian, and I see the ways that big tech has come after people like me. And that might lead some people to think, well, okay, there should be absolutely no banning of anybody at any point. But that, I think, would be to have the pendulum swing far too much in the other direction. You can say both that people have been banned for, say, pointing to certain sexual acts and calling them sinful, and that was wrong. And you could also point to YouTube's decision to remove Pornhub and say that this is a real win for human dignity. Upon review, we terminated the channel Pornhub official following multiple violations of our community guidelines. YouTube spokesperson Jack Malone said, according to Variety, we enforce our policies equally for everyone, and channels that repeatedly violate or are dedicated to violate content are terminated. MindGeek, Pornhub's parent company, has been hit with multiple lawsuits from survivors of sex trafficking who claim videos of their abuse were platformed on the pornographic site. It is pretty horrific that this is taking place, but I don't know if it should surprise us. CNN released an article, this was a while back when I kind of started getting into this work, so it must have been around 2012. And it was about a 54-year-old Japanese man who pretended that he wanted to conduct sleep studies on women between certain ages. And the women would be financially compensated for this. And he would meet these women in hotels. He would give them sedatives and alcohol. And then while they were unconscious, forgive me for what I'm about to say, but they were, how to put this delicately, sexually violated. And that abuse was filmed and sold for tens of thousands of dollars to pornographic sites. And the reason this was discovered is because one of the women saw that abuse online. Can you imagine how like horrific that would be? So like the idea that this stuff doesn't take place, you know, I think is just naive in the extreme. Maybe it's a naivety we want to hold to. Trafficking Hub movement founder Lila Micklethwait on Friday celebrated the ban and called on Twitter to follow suit. I agree with that. Micklethwait's movement describes itself as individuals, survivors, organizations, and advocates from across a broad spectrum of political faith and non-faith, economic and ideological backgrounds, all uniting together for the single purpose of shutting down Pornhub and holding its executives accountable for enabling, distributing, and profiting from rape, child abuse, sex trafficking, and criminal image based on sexual abuse. Now, Nkosi, we've had one of the head guys of Nkosi on the show before, had this to say: Pornhub has lost yet another means to market and profit from exploitation. And we are grateful to YouTube for removing the account of this predatory enterprise. Nkosi's Lena Nealon said in a statement, Pornhub was driving people directly to their pornography site, a violation of YouTube's policies, which mounting evidence shows is rife with child sexual abuse material, sex trafficking, rape, and image-based sexual abuse. MindGeek, again, which is the parent company of Pornhub, responded to this, saying it's an attack on sex workers, which is as pathetic as saying, well, because this private organization has stopped the pumping of raw sewage into the homes of certain people, that this is somehow like an attack on sewage workers. So really don't have to take that very seriously, I don't think. Pornography is a despicable, evil, film prostitution. This is what it is. Right. That treats people as objects. It destroys marriages. It causes men to become effeminate. And by effeminate, what I mean is unable to carry out their duties with vigor. You know, it's a trash heap and deserves to be burnt down. So, one thing I think we should do is thank YouTube. Find a way to thank YouTube today. And here's why. Again, you can think YouTube is basically a bad platform. That's fine. But it doesn't mean you can't thank people or groups when they make a good decision somewhere. And they've made a good decision today.